Alright, so we need to talk about the next Knives Out film, and that's right, we are officially getting a third movie, and with Daniel Craig that is officially returning as the detective Benoit Blanc, as he's going to be solving another whodunit mystery. And for you guys that do know from the first two Knives Out films, especially with the first one, that was such a big hit, especially that it got a sequel called Glass Onion, and now that we're officially getting a third movie, and for what's excited about, and even with these two movies, they always have a new mystery of who done it. But now that we're getting a third movie, and on top of that, we have official casting announcements to go over that were recently announced. And even with this casting, it sounds like this is going to be a big movie than ever before. And we also got the title revealed as well. And so I'm going to be breaking down right here. And so if you new heard it, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any future videos. But now let's just hop into it. And now, as I mentioned in the beginning, especially if you guys have known, or if you've seen like the first two Knives Out films, especially as it all started with Knives Out that came out back in 2019. It was released around Thanksgiving, and it was a big hit, and audiences loved it, especially with Benoit Blanc as the detective, especially with Chris Evans, and even that it got a sequel called The Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery with Edward Norton, and a completely like different cast, and like each movie is a whodunit mystery, and that's why I particularly enjoyed it from these first two movies. It's especially with Daniel Craig, who is always on the case trying to figure out the mystery and who done it. And it's basically if so someone something goes wrong, or like someone gets murdered, it's up to the mystery of who done it. And even with this third movie, and now that we got the official title for it, especially coming from Rian Johnson, the director of the first two movies, that has said that with the official title, it's called Wake Up Dead Man. And even with this term, it's kind of like in like suspense, because even though I think it's gonna be one of those titles called a Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery. I think it's what it's listed on Letterboxd as well. But even now that we're getting a third movie, and everything that we know about it, and even with the term that he says it's gonna be the most dangerous case yet, so it means that they're cooking up something over here. And now, next up, we're going to talk about the casting announcements that were made. And now, this happened yesterday, and what the first piece of announcements to go over is Tom Hardy and Lindsay Lohan will be officially be in Knives Out 3. And even though I love this choice, especially as with Tom Hardy, as we know him from the DC universe with The Dark Knight Rises, and he plays Eddie Brock in the first two Venom movies, and then you along with Lindsay Lohan, who's like a big star, and so especially with those movies like from our childhoods, like she's like an iconic actress, and also being in the third Knives Out film, I can see for what these two do. They're either gonna be playing a couple, or it could be something else, but that's gonna be like something big to see as well. And like I think back to the first two Knives Out films when they had like iconic actors, especially in Glass Onion, when you add upon like a Dave Bautista from Guardians of the Galaxy, and then with Edward Norton, and but even with the third movie with these cast members, it kind of makes sense. And then with the second announcement to go over is with Josh O'Connor and Kaylee Spaney will also be in the third film as well. Now, especially with Josh O'Connor, who you might know, who has played a role in the love triangle with Zendaya's character in Challengers, and I love that movie. I thought it was the best film of the year, and Josh O'Connor did amazing in that, like with that love triangle thing and stuff like that. And I'm happy he's going to be in the third Knives Out film, which is obviously going to be on Netflix. By the way, I'm super happy for him. And then you add on with Kaylee Spaney, who is like been in roles, and like especially with like I think that the best one yet for her role is Priscilla Presley in the movie Priscilla, who she played like the wife of Elvis Presley, who played like Jacob Elordi, and even with her being in a Knives Out film, like it's like a whodunit mystery. So I'm way happy for these two being in the film. And even on top of the other two cast members, like I just mentioned, but even with these two other cast members are being added on to this movie, I feel like something big is about to go down. With the next scene to talk about, it's the fact that with Rian Johnson, that he also mentioned that with production on the third film is underway, it's gonna start filming this year and probably release on Netflix sometime next year in 2025. And I hope that they give this a theatrical release, but limited, of course, since it is a Netflix film, and Netflix does this like sometimes where like they put out a movie of their original stuff in theaters for like a week to get the good word of mouth out, but then you would take it and then release it worldwide. So I'm thinking like that's what Netflix will do, but I'm thinking like since it's the third Knives Out film, I think people are definitely going to be craving these movies, and I think like with them having a release in 2025, man, if you look at the movie slate calendar for 2025, it is locked and loaded, and I'm pretty sure with Knives Out 3, we're going to have one heck of a year. So filming is going to be this year and probably release next year, and I'm so happy to have Daniel Craig back in the role as the detective, as we mostly know him as James Bond, and other roles as well, but mostly with James Bond right there. But even with him being back as the detective and exploring the whodunits and exploring a little bit of meaning behind all this, especially with himself, that's the things that I cannot wait for. And plus, so one thing that I will say is this, even though with plot details that are sort of being kept under wraps, but I'm thinking like, where is this new film going to take place in? Is this going to be at like a house or like somewhere like Benoit Blanc is gonna travel to? Because even in the first two Knives Out movies, where you had like a mission going on in a mansion where someone was murdered, and then they had to figure out who done it, who did this. And even in the second movie, you had it take place like in a mansion on an island. And because I'm thinking in the third Knives Out film, especially with the title "Wake Up, Dead Man," I'm thinking like they could probably pull off the most dangerous case yet by doing something like totally different, especially from the first two Knives Out films, but combined into this one. And I mean, I don't know, that's just the top of my head here, but I'm thinking like of how they could do this. Is that I think this will be the best film yet, but it just depends on how they do this. But I'm curious to see what happens. And so, for my final thoughts is, I'm excited for the next Knives Out movie, that we're getting a third movie, and even with Willie's cast members that were recently announced with Tom Hardy, Lindsay Lohan, Josh O'Connor, and Kaylee Spaney, and I'm very excited to see these people join in on the next Knives Out film, and with Daniel Craig officially returning. And on top of, as I love the first two Knives Out films, I can't wait to see what they was sort of film for the next one, or probably have like like a couple more movies. And it's one of those so simple classic whodunit movies, trying to solve a murder mystery with Benoit Blanc on the case, and it's gonna be such a fun time to witness the third movie as well. So I can't wait for it all. And so that's what we did for this video. Just let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and what are your thoughts on this, and how excited are you for the third Knives Out film, especially for when it comes out next year on Netflix. And just let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe and turn on notifications for future videos. Also follow all my social medias, which are linked down below. And with that, I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.